listening to the Spirit Podcast.
Greetings, seekers of the strange and guardians of the arcane. I'm Beck, your ever-curious navigator through the nebulous rounds of the supernatural, the paranormal, and the delightfully conspiratorial. Usually, I'd have Rachel by my side, probably communing with cryptids or forging peace treaties between rival Sasquatch clans, but tonight, I've summoned someone extra special from the other side of the living room. Joining me as my guest co-host is my very own mom, a woman of wisdom, intuition, and impeccable ghost sensing skills. She's been there through all my weird phases, from haunted doll collections to decoding EVP in the middle of the night. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Beck.
How are you today?
I'm just great.
How do you feel about being on the podcast?
It's a little weird.
So grab your flashlight, your tinfoil hat, and maybe a snack, because we're about to pierce the veil together and see what mysteries await. Let's kick things off across the Atlantic, where the ghosts of Long Island are putting in overtime. The Long Island paranormal investigators, who sound like a group of retired mobsters turned Ghostbusters, and I mean that with love, have been digging into some classic hotspots. One of the biggest names on the haunted hit list? Kings Park Psychiatric Center. Now, this place has layers, decades of institutional energy, forgotten tunnels, abandoned wards, and more spirit reports than a seance convention. Some investigators have described hearing disembodied screams, footsteps in sealed buildings, and cold spots that follow you like a clingy ex. It's basically the Disneyland of hauntings, minus the overpriced churros and aggressive mice. Okay, Mom, here's a tough one. If you had to spend a night in a famously haunted hospital or asylum, would you do it? And if you did, what would you take with you for protection? No judgment if you say holy water and a Louisville Slugger.
I wouldn't do either of those things because I'm a big old chicken.
Great news, fellow lovers of the legendary, the mysterious, and the deeply misunderstood. The Cryptid Calendar 2025 has officially been released. Yes, it's that magical time of year again when cryptozoologist folklore nerds and people with very confusing office walls rejoice. Each month features stunning, lovingly weird illustrations of your favorite paranormal pals, from always fashionable Mothman, who never skips leg day, to Bigfoot, the forest recluse we all secretly wish was our neighbor. And let's not forget the deep-cut cryptids. I'm talking the Fresno Nightcrawler, which, if you've never seen it, is basically a sentient pair of ghostly pajama pants gliding through the security cam footage. It's kind of like it's late to a sleepover. Or the Enfield Horror, a one-eyed tripedal beast from Illinois that looks like a mistake someone made trying to draw a kangaroo from memory. Some cryptids, like the Jersey Devil or the Chupacabra, have PR teams by now, but others, they're just trying to vibe in the woods and occasionally photobomb your trail cam. Okay, Mom, out of all the cryptids you've heard about, which one do you think might actually be out there? And if you had to hang out with one for a day, who's getting the invite?
Well, I think there's a lot of cryptids, and if I was going to invite any cryptid, it would be a Bigfoot.
Why a Bigfoot?
They're not as scary as the other ones I've seen on
Really?
the cams.
People
yeah.
are scared of big feet usually.
They kind of look like big old bears, or they wouldn't scare me.
Would you hang a calendar like this in the kitchen, or is this just a step too far into the spooky?
Oh, I'd absolutely hang that in the kitchen.
Awesome. Well, if you thought the Manson story had already been fully unraveled, think again. Netflix just released Chaos, The Manson Murders, a jaw-dropping documentary that doesn't just dive into the occult. It plunges headfirst into the murky waters of CIA mind control, psychological warfare, and the bizarre counterculture of the 1960s. Forget the hippie narrative. This series suggests that old Charlie might have been less of a free love guru, more like a potential puppet in a very shady government experiment. Enter Project MK Ultra, the CIA's infamous deep dive into mind manipulation, LSD, and using humans like lab rats on acid. Mom, were you alive during that time?
Yes, I was.
Do you remember how the media covered Manson back then?
I did.
Does it surprise you that these deeper, darker government ties are now being unearthed, or does it make total sense?
It makes total sense now. I've read a lot about it, and I think the CIA is involved in much more than we know.
Is it weird that half the people I talk to trust Bigfoot more than the CIA?
That's not weird at all.
Because I think you would too, probably.
I would.
In casting news that has the internet howling at the moon, Jared Padalecki and Misha Collins are set to join Jensen Ackles in the final season of The Boys. That's right, 3 of the biggest names from the long-running show Supernatural are reuniting in what might be the most chaotic on-screen comeback since Beetlejuice decided to crash a wedding. Now, full disclosure, I never watched Supernatural, so I don't have a dog in the trench coat and demon fight race. But I do know this. When you put 3 actors known for chasing demons, wrestling angels, and brooding in graveyards into a show like The Boys, which is basically a violent fever dream about corrupt superheroes, you're asking for either a holy war or a buddy comedy. And fans, they're here for it. It's like the Marvel multiverse got possessed by a ghost hunter with a flair for leather jackets. So, Mom, without knowing much about these guys or their shows, why do you think we're so drawn to dark supernatural themes in TV right now?
I think that's always been a part of our life. I think we're allowed to go into it more at this point. Back in the day, it was Leave It to Beaver and all these little sappy stories, but reality is scarier.
Do you think it's escapism, or are we subconsciously preparing for something deeper?
Oh, I believe we're really preparing for something much deeper. It's already begun.
Now, hypothetically, if you could cast any ghost or cryptid as a reoccurring character on a show like this, who would you pick? Like, imagine the Mothman showing up with a plot twist and perfect lighting.
Some sort of escape. I can't remember what the hell. They're scary.
Oh.
What are they called? A rake?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'd watch that show. It would be horrifying, but I'd watch it.
Definitely a rake.
A rake. According to author Bibhu Dev Misra, March 21st, 2025 marked the end of the 2,700-year Kali Yuga cycle in Hindu tradition, a period characterized by moral decline and spiritual darkness. Misra predicts this transition could lead to global upheaval, including wars and natural disasters, before ushering in a new era of enlightenment by 2040. It's a compelling narrative that blends ancient prophecy with modern anxieties. Whether you see it as symbolic or literal, it certainly gives us food for thought. Do you believe that ancient prophecies like this hold relevance in the world today?
I believe we're here right now, right on the precipice of these big changes into the new world.
Can they offer guidance, or are they more of a reflection of our collective fears and hopes?
I think it can offer a lot of guidance. It's part of our history of Earth. It's happened over and over again.
I am not the Antichrist, nor do I claim to be the Messiah.
In a world already teetering on the edge of prophetic overload, enter April 2025, stage left, a man who claims to be both the Pope and the Islamic Mahdi. Yes, you heard that right. The Vicar of Christ and the awaited Messiah of Islam in one robe. Mom, this isn't just another internet rabbit hole. This one dug itself through 2 religions and popped up at the Vatican. The man at the center of this spiritual plot twist, Abdullah Hashim, also known as Abba al-Sadiq. He's the founder of the Ahmadi Religion of Peace and Light, a new sect that emerged from Twelver Shia Islam. He claims to be the Qaim al-Muhammad, which translates to the one who rises from the family of the Prophet Muhammad, and at the same time the true Pope, meant to replace the papal seat of Rome. This all came to a head in early April. His followers staged global demonstrations outside of churches, including Vatican City, declaring Hashim the rightful pope. Then, in a jaw-dropping twist, Pope Francis passed away the very next day. Coincidence or choreography? That timing is wild. What are people saying about it? Well, reactions are all over the place. Some claim it's the fulfillment of prophecy, a cosmic realignment of the two world faiths. Others, they're calling it dangerous, even blasphemous. So far, the Vatican has stayed quiet, eerily quiet. So, who is Abdullah Hashim really? A prophetic bridge between East and West, or just another self-declared Messiah in an age of spiritual confusion? What do you think, Mom? Could someone ever stand in both roles, or is this just the setup for something much bigger that we're not seeing yet?
I can't imagine that someone would be straddling Catholicism and
Muslim?
I can't imagine someone straddling Muslim and Catholicism. I believe that there are going to be many false prophets before the Antichrist.
Yeah, this guy is a little wild here because everything he says is contradictive, to be honest.
Yeah.
But whatever the truth may be, one thing is clear. April 2025 just added another headline to humanity's growing pile of end times bingo cards. Now, let's tiptoe into the misty forests of the art world, where a curious little theory has started to bloom like moss on an old canvas. We're talking about Bob Ross. Yes, that Bob Ross, America's gentle art teacher, soft-spoken, eternally optimistic, the man who made painting feel like a form of therapy with a squirrel on your shoulder. But what if those happy little trees were hiding something? There's a conspiracy swirling on the internet corners, and it's not just the usual brushstroke of madness. The theory that Bob Ross may have been embedding coded messages in his paintings, clues pointing to unsolved crimes, disappearances, or even personal confessions, masked as mountains, rivers, and stormy skies. Every misty forest, a cover-up. Every lonely cabin, a potential witness. Every time he said, "Let's just put a little tree right here." Was it a random choice or a mark on the map? Mom, be honest. Have you ever looked at one of his paintings and felt like it was saying more than just Serenity Now?
No.
Me neither. But some online theorists point out that Bob Ross was once in the Air Force. He was trained to be meticulous, disciplined, and according to one post, a master of concealment. Others claim he painted at a pace too fast for someone not trying to get a message across, like a man possessed with a purpose. There are even side theories that Ross may have been trying to expose government projects hidden in the wilderness, that the trees, the lakes, and the mountains weren't just scenic, but literal locations, coordinates disguised as calm. If Bob Ross was trying to leave us clues, what do you think he wanted people to discover? Or better yet, why hide them in the art?
I think he wanted people to discover how to paint. And that's about it. Paint easily, because I only paint stick figures.
So you see no conspiracy in this at all?
Nah.
Well, from canvas to courtroom, while the serial killer theory has as much evidence as Bigfoot's tax returns, real controversy did brew after his death. The Netflix documentary Bob Ross, Happy Accidents, Betrayal, and Greed reveals how Bob Ross's business partners, the Kowalskis, took control of his name and legacy, sparking battles with his son Steve. Today, Bob's image is everywhere, from board games to waffle makers. Whether that's honoring his spirit or cashing in on nostalgia, well, that's the real mystery. So, was Bob Ross a painter, a prophet, or a pawn? Either way, I think we can all agree. Happy little trees never looked so suspicious. Is any of this confirmed? Of course not. Is it a stretch? Probably. But in a world where even paint can hold secrets, maybe the next time you're watching The Joy of Painting, look a little closer. Because sometimes the quietest voices paint the loudest truths.
Hey, Spirit Seekers. Enjoying the show? Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to the Spirit. Leave us a review on Apple or Spotify and share the love. We drop a new video every week on our YouTube channel covering paranormal, conspiracy, high strangeness, and more. Have questions or want to share your own spooky story? drop us a line at tothespiritpod@gmail.com. Stay spirited.
Let's light things up, literally. Imagine holding a light bulb, glowing just from your touch. No batteries, no wires, no socket, just you and a little static magic. Sounds like a superhero origin story, right? Well, it's happening, and it's not science fiction. Meet 9-year-old Abu Tahir from Kerala, India. He recently stunned his family and the entire TikTok universe by lighting LED bulbs simply by pressing them to his skin. No tricks, no tech, just pure human current. Now, before we all start checking our palms for power outlets, let's look at what the scientists say. Some believe Abu's body might produce a higher than average salt content in his sweat, creating a supercharged level of conductivity. Others suggest his skin might be acting like a living capacitor, storing and transferring small charges. But honestly, none of the explanations are fully satisfying. Because if this is just about salt, I should be lighting up my hallway after a single potato chip binge. Mom, have you ever touched someone and felt that zap?
Yes.
Do you think we all have a little hidden spark waiting to be discovered?
Well, they call it the body electric. We're electric, so some people may have that more than others. Some people stop watches.
Very true. But here's the kicker. It's not just Abu. Videos are popping up all over TikTok and Instagram showing people, especially children, lighting small bulbs or conducting electricity between each other like human circuits. Some hold hands, form a chain, and when one touches a bulb, it glows. It's bizarre. It's beautiful. And it makes you wonder, is this just simple science we haven't fully explored? Or are we brushing up against something more? What do you think? Are kids just little bundles of wild energy these days?
Most definitely. I think if you just let them be who they want to be and not mess with them, they probably have more magic inside than us at this point.
Is this one of those signs that the veil between the possible and impossible is thinning?
Yes.
It seems the human body might be a little bit more electrifying than we ever imagined. So next time your light flickers, maybe don't call an electrician. Just check and see if your kid's been holding a flashlight and really think hard. And now for a story that's one part Black Mirror, one part Wall-E with a Fitbit. This past month in Beijing, the 2025 Yizhuang Half Marathon had some rather unusual competitors. Alongside tens of thousands of human runners, 21 humanoid robots entered their very own race lane, arms pumping, knees sort of lifting, and circuits whirring like caffeinated Roombas. Most of them finished, but a few gave the crowd something extra epic. Face-first wipeouts, because apparently even cutting-edge AI can't escape the banana peel of destiny. The bots were designed by various tech firms in China, and this event was more than just novelty. It was a public stress test for robot agility, endurance, and obstacle adaptation. They ran a separate track, of course. Imagine tripping over a robot mid-stride and getting sued by a software company. Some ran on wheels, others on 2 legs. A few were sleek and humanoid. Others looked like rejected Transformers with Wi-Fi. Mom, could you ever picture going out for a run and then suddenly getting passed by a robot?
No, I can't, and it's pretty frightening, just the thought of it.
What would you say if one sprinted by you with perfect posture?
I'd be scared. I'd probably lose it.
Now, we know robotics have made huge leaps. Boston Dynamics has been scaring us for years with those back-flipping robots. But seeing them in a marathon, competing side by side with humans, that hits different. Because sure, it's kind of cute now, but let's talk about what this really signals. This wasn't just about fun. This was about showcasing how far autonomous mobility has come and hinting at where it's headed. Emergency responders, delivery bots, military scouts, and yes, future athletes. Do you think it's harmless tech fun, or do you feel like we're slowly being eased into something a little creepier?
I believe we're being replaced. That's what I believe, but that's just my thoughts. Why would you even consider doing such a thing? Ever since I watched Star Wars, I think it was the 4th series or the 4th.
Yeah, who the hell can keep track at this point? There's so many of them.
I can't, but I just remember those robots were fighting, and I'm thinking, it's going to be us soon. It's going to be a robot takeover.
Either way, the future's lacing up its sneakers, and apparently it's charging up overnight. So if you see a robot jogging in your neighborhood next week, don't panic. Just wave politely and maybe don't race it. You might lose, and worse, you might get live streamed doing it. You may have heard of the phrase, birds aren't real, and thought, oh, that's just the internet satire, a funny meme, a harmless jab at a conspiracy culture. But what if it's not just a joke? Because while the official story claims this movement began in 2017 as satire, real videos have been surfacing that blur the line between parody and proof. Footage from multiple countries shows birds not flying quite right, falling mid-flight, or even being found dead with mechanical parts, microchips, and serial numbers etched into their bones. One clip out of Eastern Europe shows what appears to be a pigeon with a hinged chest cavity open to reveal a circuit board and a tracking device. And if that doesn't ruffle your feathers, in 2023, a tech conference quietly unveiled micro-drones designed to mimic birds exactly. They flap, they perch, they blend in. Officially, these are used for ecological monitoring and search and rescue ops. But let's ask the obvious. When has any surveillance tech ever stayed in the nice, peaceful box it was designed for? Mom, you grew up watching birds on the wire like they were just minding their own business. But do you think it's possible some of these little guys aren't alive at all?
Oh, definitely. Like I said, robots are taking over. Even little robot insects are going to take over.
Think about it. Birds sit perfectly still for hours on power lines like they're charging. They appear in large flocks during protests or public events. And pigeons? They're nearly fearless, following us through cities like program surveillance units. Some theories claim that the original bird replacement program began in 1950, quietly phased in during nuclear-era paranoia. Old species were wiped out or captured, drones took their place, and now a mix of real and robotic, just enough to keep us guessing. If you found out tomorrow that half the birds in your backyard were fake, would it even surprise you anymore?
Yeah, it would surprise me, really. It would. It would make me sad.
Would you still keep feeding them?
Yeah. Just for fun. I gotta see it.
So sure, the movement may have started as satire, but as with so many jokes in the strange modern world, maybe someone was telling the truth the whole time. And if birds are really watching us, let's hope they like what they see, because the sky's not just the limit anymore. It might be the surveillance grid. And that wraps up our journey beyond the veil for today. From electrified kids lighting up rooms to robots running races to a man claiming he's both the Pope and the Mahdi, let's just say normal took the day off. Remember, the world is stitched together with mysteries, and some of those threads, well, they're tangled, they're frayed, and very, very weird. Special thank you to my mom. Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Beck.
Well, thanks for stepping in and co-piloting this strange ship while Rachel's away. Mom, you've officially survived your first run through the weird, the wild, and the possibly robotic. You crushed it, and you didn't even glitch once.
I thank you, Beck.
To our listeners, stay curious, stay questioning, and most importantly, never trust a pigeon wearing sunglasses, or one that looks like it forgot how to blink. Until next time, I'm Beck. I hear the lawnmowers outside, so I'm signing off from the shadows and reminding you, if you feel like something's watching you, it probably is.
To the spirit
Podcast.
supernatural science
I'm ghost.
psychic mystic
Spirits.
divine source heaven the dead
It's magic.